You're not losing a guess. Thank you, Rita. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Ah, God. Sometimes I wake up, castle, but I still wake up. All the people that were gonna call left. They all left. They're not here to call anymore. What's going on? Increasing the blue would help. Key grip. Oh God, here we go. What do I stand for? Whoa, what do I stand for one night? I hate that song too. I guess no one's calling me. So, always a weird insult. Always a weird insult. I don't think they care. Don't do that.
Call from.
No. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm alright. How are you?
I'm okay. I don't think I can apologize for that person you just spoke to, but that was absolutely exhausting.
Yeah, it is exhausting.
Yeah, I don't even know half of their argument. They jumped in, shifted across so many different ideologies. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's someone where we would probably just call them like a. They're not like left or right. They're more of just like a angry populist, and they want to see the system fall down at all costs, no matter what the repercussions are.
I understand that. I mean, I wouldn't put a label to it because I honestly don't know too much about it. But I would like to talk to you about something else if you have time.
Yep, I have a little bit of time. I have a good hour, but we're not gonna go for an hour. But I'll be on for an hour, so you're good to go.
Of course not. No, no. 10 minutes of your time, that's all I would like. We spoke before. We spoke for a couple of minutes. I learned a lot from your broadcast. Thank you for your time. Whenever, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to talk to you about some tariffs.
Tariffs. All right, go. Yeah, shoot.
Okay. For an American economy, when you're an American, a lot of people are alleging that there was a pump and dump within the last couple of 24, 48 hours, depending, when your time zone is. Would you say that's good or bad for the U.S. economy if U.S. businesses were able to earn some money they were in a drought before, right? They didn't have a lot of money before. It was tied up, but now all of a sudden it's not tied up. How would you characterize the new capital that was gained within the last 24, 36, 48 hours for these American companies?
Do you mean like in the stock market?
Not only. I'm talking about all of the events that occurred within the economy within the last 24, 36, 48 hours in aggregate with everything. Stock market, stocks, bonds, business transactions, deals, selling, offshore,
Well,
bringing back things to the U.S.
right now they're The stock market is still crashing. Our U.S. bonds are going really high, which is not good. It means investors are losing faith in America. Countries are dumping America. We're losing right now as a country. Our GDP is declining. We're like 8% lower in our growth. We're actually getting smaller as an economy, which no one predicted. This is caused by the tariffs. We have less capital to work with right now. Everything is objectively worse now than it was like 5 days ago before this all started, or 8 days ago.
Okay, 5 days over the last, let's say, 10 years, and we've seen the stock market bounce up and down over the same time frame, 5, 10, 15%. Is this an effective measure to decide the U.S. economy, would you say?
No, if you look at any evidence for tariffs working at this scale and the way Trump is using them, there's no evidence in human history for any economy anywhere where this type of economic plan ever worked for a country. If anything, it made countries collapse, including America. America got a lot worse when he used tariffs during the 1930s, and like the 1900s, late 1800s in general. There's no examples of this working ever before, and there's a reason where Milton Friedman is a old conservative like economist and theorist. Sam Hayek is like a more like a libertarian, I think. They're more conservative. Thomas Sowell. Then you'll have a bunch of liberal economists, progressive economists, even communists like Professor Wolf. Every political ideology agrees that Trump's current tariff measures are probably the worst case scenario.
Okay, uh, thank you for that. You listed a lot of political ideologies. If I may I ask you, why are other countries so upset at tariffs? That they're doing things like reciprocal tariffs, they're doing things like tariffs on imports, exports of their own trade. Isn't the argument that Americans will have to pay the brunt of these tariffs and these increased prices?
Yeah, so we're violating trade deals. It slows the entire global economy. So we're committing like an economic suicide that brings them down too. So it hurts them as well. So like when you do tariffs, the goal is to restrict the outside countries from selling into your country. So you're gonna tax American citizens for sure. It taxes American citizens, but it makes the products from that country become so expensive they're no longer competitive. So it does hurt those countries from being able to sell and access your markets. So you're restricting them from accessing your markets by making other goods be less expensive. The reason other countries will retaliate is to try to get the U.S. to stop, but it's bad for both countries. But those countries are only retaliating because they're hoping if they hurt enough American businesses and American exporters, then America will have to back off on the tariffs that are hurting their businesses as well in these other countries. America helped design the global trade, and we benefited from it. We're the richest country in the world, largely because we did design all these systems. That's one of the reasons we have all this power and our military and all these trade routes. Us coming in the game and just like changing policies every day and saying "f you" to Europe and Canada and Mexico, it just makes no sense for anyone involved, and it just makes the U.S. seem like a very untrustworthy partner for both trade and also for military and any type of collaborative efforts.
Okay, but I agree with that, but if they were forced to pay more, they would do the same thing, no?
Um, yeah, all in all, it really hurts the ability. It's a tax, right? So it's going to slow down economic activity for everyone involved.
Right. It's a tax on things that are coming within the U.S., whether that be Chinese, whether that be Ireland, Great Britain, Canadian, Mexican. So someone is going to have to pay those extra prices.
Yeah,
And in
or
the
we're just not
past,
going to get any of the goods because we don't make certain goods. We're tariffing certain, like usually with a trade deal, you would have like negotiations for years at a time because every country sells different goods at different levels and different capacities. So it doesn't make any sense why would we tariff like cocoa beans or coffee beans? Like we don't make coffee in America. We can't grow that anywhere except Hawaii. And Hawaii can't really supply that. So we're doing this in a way that makes zero sense. Like we would never do across the board 10% tariffs on every country globally. Just yeah, it just makes zero sense.
Uh, right, but you know, a tariff on coffee beans seems like the least of our problems at this moment. We're talking about cheap goods coming from companies in Ireland, China, Canada, Mexico, right?
Yeah. See, the reason I bring that up is because it just shows a broader trend of them having no idea what they're doing and making up a bunch of different policies that don't really that don't really come together in any reasonable sense. And like one big example, they talk about trade deficits being bad. That's not really true because rich countries will have a trade deficit versus poor countries because poor countries export more. We can afford to buy more. But even with like Australia, we have a trade surplus with Australia. We sell more to them than they buy. We have a great relationship with them, with our military, with trade and everything, but we're still tariffing Australia. It makes zero sense at all to do that. So when I bring up the coffee beans, that's not the biggest point, but it just shows that they have zero idea like what they're doing, and I don't think they care that much to be very precise with it.
Understandable. But isn't Australia backed by the Great British Pound?
I'm not really even thinking about currencies right now because that's a very 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 complicated topic. I'm talking about the movement of just like commerce and global trade right now. Currency, I'm not really well educated enough on currency markets to comment on like what the currency is backed by. I could comment a little bit on like the strength of the U.S. dollar, but I'm not really too versed in that.
Okay. If I may ask you, I mean, with the limited time we have, what is the strength of the US dollar compared, a year ago to today?
To today, our currency is becoming a little bit weaker. So the U.S. has facilitated transactions between countries for quite a while, and we've been the global reserve currency. We have a very strong military to back it up, and it just shows that countries have faith in the U.S., our laws, our military, our trade deals, our ability to behold ourselves to treaties and agreements. They have faith in us, and they're going to do transactions with the U.S. dollar, and it makes the global trade more streamlined. So that's one reason that the American dollar is so strong. But right now, when it comes to like our treasury bonds and the yields for those are increasing to higher percentages, which is not good because that means countries are selling their bonds and losing faith in America and no longer holding on to those bonds. So they're seeing these turbulent changes in America, whether it's our military activities, whether it's our the way we talk to allies, or our inability to have a trade platform. They see that and they start running away because it's like, why would I trust my money with America when they can't even like manage a trade policy?
Okay. So if I may ask, America's position today over the last 3 months is weaker than it has been over the last 1 year, 5 year, 10 years.
It's weaker. We're not there yet, but if Trump continues these policies for another, oh God, if he really keeps these exact tariffs, which is like the biggest tax increase in American history, kills our alignments, kills our military alignments. He's already like, he tells Europe and Canada and Mexico they're like the greatest threats to world peace all the time when he's cozying up to Russia. If we go along the same exact presidency and he's ignoring the Constitution and the rule of law in America. The DOJ is cracking down on people for political speech and taking political prisoners. Like this country is falling apart, and our global power is still where it is because our military is so expansive and we have all these connections globally, and we're so ingrained everywhere. But if this goes on for another few months, we're going to be weaker than the U.S. has been since before World War II. If we if we continue on this for the rest of this calendar year, we're screwed.
I agree with you. I'm scared for my political speech. I do a lot to not talk about politics. I do a lot to talk about facts. I mean, you talk a lot about facts. You research a lot about the facts and the money and the trade and all of the deals that we have. But I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I see people saying I don't even know saying like we disagree, like someone disagrees. It's like the metrics we're going by are very real. It's not even just the markets. It's the bonds. It's the trust in the United States at all. We're taking tourists and detaining them. We're detaining tourists for not liking Trump, for just like speaking out against Trump in any way possible, stealing their phones. We kept a Canadian actress in detainment for like weeks at a time in brutal conditions. We there's a fighting coach from Australia that was kept in detainment in a prison with a bunch of like actual like gang members and stuff. Like we are treating anyone that comes to America like crap. And we have to host the World Cup and the Olympics. And if we have issues during the World Cup and Olympics, like we are in position. If Trump messes up these World Cups and detains a bunch of people and is violent and cracks down on freedom of speech, we can find ourselves in a really, really, really scary situation very quickly with authoritarianism in America. And all the people who love Trump so far, if they love what Trump has done so far with zero reservations, genuinely, you need to watch out. Like you need to be careful around them. I'm not even kidding. If they have zero questions at all, if they're like in a cult mentality, be careful, okay? Like genuinely be careful around people like that, because you have to, if they have no independent thought, if Trump ever says some crazy stuff about America collapsing and you need to like attack liberals or whatever, like anyone right now, you have Reagan judges, you have former Trump judges, they're calling crazy neo-Marxists. Trump appointed and Reagan appointed judges that are ruling against him because he's so blatantly violating the law. They're calling neo-Marxist judges. They have very bad intentions for this country. They want to subvert the Constitution. They are very dangerous, and we need to beat them at all costs.
I agree with you. You know, I mean, again, I don't understand neo-Marxists. I don't understand leftists, rightists,
Oh, it
but
doesn't
I
mean anything to them
absolutely
either.
agree with you. I
They just say
I
like
agree
silly
with you
words.
that if you disagree with the administration, you may face consequences, and that is horrid, and I'm scared for that. And I would never want to do that for myself or my family or yourself and your family or any family to begin with. And that's scary. That's like we're living in, Germany occupied Nazi territory, and that's horrid.
Someone said, "Who cares about the Olympics?" This is like this entire movement really does stem from a lack of understanding about anything ever. It's like even how consequential the Olympics was in like Berlin with like Jesse Owens or whatever. Like that was a huge moment globally, but before World War II, like these things matter to such a large extent. Like and cultural exports are one of the things that keeps America afloat. Like American culture, whatever that is global. It's transcendent. It's like our culture can't be seen or measured by just like units sold. I mean, I guess it can be by downloads and stuff of music and that kind of stuff. But like America is dominant for many reasons, and Trump is attacking every single one of those reasons except the military, which even the military is being kind of torn apart with loyalists. So
You know, I can't read chat. I mean, you have an extra screen that you can read chat. I don't know anything about the military. I just know that our military is the strongest of any in the world, including China, including Russia, including Great Britain. I mean, if anything were to pop off, they were to be defeated literally within 2 weeks easily. And the Olympics, I mean, those are selection processes. Is there an Olympics that's scheduled to be within the continental United States? I don't even know.
yeah,
I thought the next
2028.
Olympics was scheduled to be in Hawaii.
um, it's Los Angeles, right? Um,
That'd be nice.
2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Los Angeles and SoFi in
It's in
SoFi
the
Stadium.
whole. Yeah, it's in. It's in all those stadiums. They'll all be at use. All be in use.
Okay, okay. I mean, that's Olympics. Olympics are nice. But still, it's like the Russian Olympics in Sochi. That doesn't mean, anyone supports Russian Olympics in Sochi just because it's in Russia.
I'm talking if
But
they mess up, like if because ice right now. See, I don't even want to say this publicly. I don't even want to say it publicly because there's such rabid dogs that are tearing our country apart. But ice right now needs a leash. Ice right now is going insane. Ice right now is acting as a Gestapo, and if they get involved if they get involved in the Olympics to an extent and detain athletes or whatever, or do some crazy stuff, that'll be terrible. I don't know if it'll happen. Who knows what'll happen? But also fans that travel or families, like this can be. Oh my God! Like they need. There's gonna be some crazy stuff that happens in the next few years. And by the way, Sri, thank you for $5, Sri. Thank you for the donation. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, is there anything else you want to ask before we get off here?
No, I agree with you. ICE, any immigration officials with this new mandate, I mean, I don't trust them. I wouldn't believe them. I honestly don't think they have any right according to the United States Constitution. But they have deported dozens, if not hundreds, of criminals. And I'm not talking about persons that we've discussed before, like Mr. Khalil or Miss Lee, people who have illegally sat in to certain protests and occupied private property. Wouldn't you agree that if you sit into private property, you don't have a right to protest? And if they ask you to leave, you kind of have to leave? In private
Private
property?
property, yeah. So like private property, like if you have like a public university, you can be on public roads, but if it's completely closed off, you can't be on campus. But if it is like a state college, anyone can protest there. But a private university usually has other rules that they can put in place on their
If I
jurisdiction.
may, if I may, there was a case study with the University of Rhode Island where certain persons were arrested. They weren't deported, but they were arrested and charged with illegal assembly and other charges based on them just occupying the University of Rhode Island, certain buildings. I mean, that's in New York. I mean, honestly. I mean, Rhode Island may be in New York or may not be. I mean, I consider it New York. They were disciplined and they were kicked out of school. So I would consider that if the University of Columbia is private property, and a lot of public colleges are private property, just because it's a public college doesn't mean it's not private property. If you sit in a, for example, the sixth floor library, and you just sit there for days and days and days, you may be arrested for trespassing. And I mean, I'm not saying that this should be a method used to deport people, right? Because it's a violation at the very most. I'm not going to support ICE. I'm not going to support this president in his deportation efforts, right? Because they're indiscriminate and that doesn't make any sense. It's not just criminals like MS-13 or
No, they're going
13th
after whoever they
Ave.
can find that's not white and putting
Right,
them into vans. But like what you said about like,
right.
there's a difference between like if you want to say this person's breaking a law somewhere or they're violating something legal that's extreme enough to take a visa away or to take away their green card or whatever it might be. That's a different conversation from like the Trump White House when they detain these visa holders. First off, the process is usually okay. We revoked your visa or your green card. You have 30 days to leave or whatever, and you have to self-deport within 30 days. When they pull up on someone with no warning and they have masks and they have an unmarked van, they're doing that for intimidation. And like intimidation, they want to be public. Like why do you have your face covered? It's a random college kid. It's not some gang member, which is why you would have face coverings. There's no reason at all to have face coverings for what they're doing here. So first off, like that's the basis for like them taking people is it's all centered on their speech. They deemed their speech to be un-American, anti-Semitic, or like anti-Israel. And the fact the government's going to say there's there's un-American speech we got to crack down on with our thought police. They already announced they're monitoring social media of migrants for things they deem to be anti-Semitic, which is basically anti-Israel to them. Which there's a clear distinction between anti-Israel and anti-Semitic that you could draw from. But they say anything talking about pro-Palestine is anti-Semitic, which is insane to say that because many Jewish people, many Jewish students are very anti what's happening right now with Israel, Palestine. But yeah, that's the biggest issue with this is they're not making accusations on laws. They're not making accusations that laws were broken because they could try that in local level, state levels, whatever. But they're saying these are threats to America. They are deemed unsafe. Unsafe. It's unsafe to be here in America with them. Yeah, I don't know.
I agree with you 100%. If you have a green card, you have a right. If you're on a visa, that's debatable. We're not going to debate that today. But if you are on a permanent resident green card, you are allowed to express your opinion.
Well, I would argue for a visa too. Even for a tourist, you have a right to express yourself in America without being held like and detained for your speech. Congress shall make
A
no law
visa,
for that.
historically, a visa is revocable. Green cards are only revocable with serious crimes.
Yeah, but not on that basis of
Visas,
just saying like, we're gonna remove you for your speech. Like it was never just on like in modern day America, like detaining someone as they do right now with for speech violations, that is not legal. That's not reasonable at all. If you want to say
I
revoking a
mean,
visa by like certain laws for the Department of State, can be done. That's a different conversation. But the fact they pull up in these vans and they don't tell the legal team where they're being held. They ship them from New York to Louisiana to the same exact detainment facility so they have so they can shop around for immigration judges. That kind of stuff is definitely not justified in my opinion.
with these particular cases, we're talking about green card recipients. However, visas are student privileges, and they may be revoked. Again, I don't agree with them being revoked, right? Because the First Amendment to the United States says you have a right to free speech, you have a right to freedom of assembly, you have a right to. There's so many rights within the Bill of Rights that you are eligible for if you are legally within the United States. If you're a visitor, in my opinion, you may have to focus on your studies and you may have to finish your studies and you may have to earn permanent status before you're allowed to publicly dictate policy, if I may.
The big thing is that in my country, I don't want them going after people for their speech, and there's still debates
Of
on
course,
this. And if the Secretary of State can tell anyone, like, hey, you get out of my country because I don't like what you said, then that is untenable for many many reasons, and this country will just be like China if we go down that road. Because then if you set that precedent and you have that be enacted and justified, then we go down a whole rabbit hole of terrible
but if
things. We
I
don't want to be
may,
like Russia or China. And even for visas or
sir,
tourists,
if I
I wouldn't
may,
want to.
I agree with you just because of what you say, absolutely. But what about what you did, what you have acted on? If you take over a whole floor of a university, what does that mean?
That means you're
If
doing
you
a
have
sit-in protest.
disrupted, no, sir, you are entitled to protest on public property. You are entitled to protest on the streets. You can even protest on the highways. You can protest
No, you
on
can't block
sidewalks.
highways. But like, you're talking about civil. If you want to say
No,
we should deport
yeah,
people over
they
civil
limited
disobedience,
highways.
that's one
You're
thing. But
absolutely
like doing
right.
a sit-in to a building, is a lot different from like actively harming something or damaging property. Doing sit-ins,
It's not
um,
active. It's a passive harm. You're literally harming business. You're harming a private business. It's a college.
you're still talking about
This
First
college
Amendment
has a
issues though.
right.
That's still speech. Okay, okay. Are we talking
No,
about the college or are we talking about DHS?
we're talking about private versus public property. Private property, you don't have a right to do anything. You're asked to leave, you have to leave. If you're not leaving, you're arrested. It doesn't matter what
Yeah,
you're
I,
saying.
I I know.
If it's
Yeah.
public property,
Okay,
if
we know
it's
this. We know
public
this. But what
property,
is it? Are you saying that someone who violates private property rights and does a protest there should be deported or have their visa revoked?
no, sir. I'm
Okay.
saying that you may have a criminal record at the end if you decide to disrupt private property, which exists for every single American, every single person that exists. If you're in Target and you decide to stage a public protest inside of a Target, you may be banned from every single Target location.
Okay, what points are we making here? We're talking about like the political people, the political prisoners, or political visa being
It
revoked.
doesn't matter what points we're making. We're making disturbance. We're making criminal charges.
I no,
That's
I
the
don't. Okay,
thing.
I gotta.
Trespass is
I'm gonna
criminal
move on to
charges.
something. I don't care about criminal charges. I thought we were
Okay,
talking about
okay,
the.
okay,
I thought we
okay.
were talking about the
Yes,
visas
sir.
and
Yes,
everything
sir. Yes,
because that's different from the criminal
yes,
charges.
yes, sir.
Um,
Would you a different argument? May I please hear it?
no, I just don't like the criminal. Like when they deport these people or when they try to take away their green card, they are not making any accusations of any crime at all. Like they're not making accusations of crime. They're saying they don't like their speech. Like that's what they're saying
I
essentially.
mean, none of which would be read on the affidavit of charges
No,
or
but like the reason
arrest
they're revoking the
warrants.
visas explicitly is because they don't like them. They think they are not conducive to American values. That's what they're saying. They're not saying they commit any crimes.
Is that what they're saying on paper?
Yes, yes. That's Marco Rubio just spoke in a cabinet paper or a cabinet meeting today. But the one guy they didn't realize had a green card or a permanent residency. So they're going back and saying he lied on his green card form because they have to post justify it.
Uh, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about that. I'm
Yeah,
just
it's purely
talking about
speech.
private property, public property.
Well, nothing about private or public property has anything to do with the cases with DHS or Department of State.
Of course they do.
Um, not with this conversation. They did this on the grounds of speech. For this conversation with the deportations and the visas, it's on the grounds of speech.
No, they're not. You can't
They
sue
explicitly.
someone
Okay,
on their
you
speech.
just said you don't know what's happening right now. Listen to me. They are doing it on behalf of saying they don't have American values and they are not conducive to America. You can Google it right now and see for yourself. Stop arguing with stuff you don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry. I understand your position. However,
It is what
you
they said.
cannot
It is what they
deport
have said multiple
somebody
times. Okay,
without.
have a good night. Okay, guys, I'm tired. That is the freaking point of the conversation, you dumbass mother trucker. That's the point of the whole conversation, you idiot. I'm too tired for this. I gotta go to bed. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. Have a good night. Super sexy, crazy. Please drop a like. Please consider subscribing. All that kind of stuff. Thank you for watching. I don't know if anyone donated on Cash App or PayPal or Venmo. My phone died. But yeah, if you want to become a channel member, it's $3 a month. $3 a month to become a channel member. Join the Discord. I'll drop the Discord link. I will drop the Discord link in the chat. I gotta get some sleep. I am dying right now. I gotta get some sleep. I'll be back on. Oh, is tomorrow Friday? I might be on tomorrow. For 3 months. Joel, I saw this great quote that goes something like, "You can beat 40 scholars with one fact, but you can't beat an idiot with 40 facts." Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna go DoorDash tomorrow, brother. I can't wait. I'm gonna do political debates while DoorDashing. Should I debate people that I DoorDash to? Like, hey, want to come outside for a debate? Why is this happening, bro? They just won't listen. It's like, hey, no, they literally said it's because they said they're they're un-American. It's like, well, that's your position. You can't deport someone with pieces of speech. I will charge it. Thank you for donations. Thank you for memberships. Thank you for support. Thank you for like. Thank you for subscribing. I dropped the Discord links in both chats and pinned them. I'm gonna get some sleep tonight. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. Who's Marshall? Marshall Henderson. You should be locked up for treason. Nice. You know, Marshall Henderson. I hope you have fun living in Beijing. You bot account. GoPro it. I think that's illegal. The dollar is about to break below 100. What does that mean? What does it mean? Private equity owns 1 out of every 10 apartment units. I don't know if it says that. Does it? Does it? Oh, make sure you check out Pisco tonight. Pisco gave me a nice shout out on Twitter. Pisco said he was gonna. I hope he does not do this, by the way. I don't think he's going to, because it's not very fun to watch. But Pisco put this tweet up. See, I had a terrible time in this conversation. I'm not happy nor confident about this conversation, okay? I'm not confident about this. I'm not confident about this. I did not have a fun time. I only view myself in my effectiveness for the change we need to see, which conversations like, wait, new memberships, 10. Thank you, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you, man. Thank you. 10 memberships. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Pisco said, wow, watching Jolah TV absolutely manhandle Rob Noor. We'll review this debate probably tonight. Actual destruction. If you talk to Pisco, if you chat with Pisco, tell him to not watch the first half about COVID. The COVID part sucked. The COVID part sucked. The second half is fun talking about tariffs. But if you're in chat with Pisco when he goes live tonight, make sure you tell him. I don't know if he's live yet. I could link to him if he is on. He's not on. He was on. They have that Live and Learn show.
After a First Amendment censorious.
See, all the liberals have glasses. I have my contacts in, so I don't have glasses on. See, all the liberals wear glasses because they're silly. I would never wear glasses, bro. I got my contacts in. Although, I do hear that people like the way I look in glasses better, which is interesting. You, Joey, what the hell? Jew? Stop being anti-Semitic towards me. I'm not even Semitic. Are you a top or bottom? I'm both, homie. Pisco's hour? Yeah, Pisco's hour. He's not live, or I would direct you there. There's my here's the link. W. Alright, guys. Have a good night. See you guys tomorrow. Friday nights are usually fun. Fridays are usually fun, dude. Free fries. Free Fridays. Which night would be better to stream? Friday or Saturday? The dude was stuck in what he viewed as his prime, like COVID, like watching your parents talk about their high school days. It's so dumb too. It's like, okay, well, Ron DeSantis and Tom Wolf, they were all the same, and Gavin Newsom, they were all the same during COVID. It's like, okay, then every politician is an authoritarian to you. I don't know. All right, guys. Have a good night. $10 I'll bail. Well, I'm gonna stream either Friday or Saturday. I just don't know which one's better. I don't know which one's better, brother. Have a good night. Let me know if you like Fridays better. Okay, I'll think about it. All right, guys. See ya. See you tomorrow. Let me know in the chat. Combat veterans for Trump. Way too many sore losers in America. Get over it. We're only for males and females. No pronouns. If you're okay, I think that's disrespectful to actual combat vets to make it seem like they'd go on a stream and post emojis, the 100 emoji, and unprompted complain about pronouns. I'd assume a combat vet would not complain about pronouns at 11:24 p.m. on a Eastern Standard Time night on a YouTube short stream. I'd assume that. I don't know. You're weird. You're weird. Switch. All right, guys. Have a good night. Saturday's the best? Okay. Saturday's the best. Okay. Saturday. Okay. Okay, we'll try. Maybe we'll do Saturday instead of Friday. I'll try to do Saturday. Okay, guys, have a good night. Do I snort your Adderall, plug it, or just take? I take Adderall every hole. Okay, good night, guys.